Hey, it's Brian from the Cell. We're kicking off a series of short video chats with some industry leaders to talk about different perspectives and trends in headless commerce. Today, I'm talking to Noah Gedrich, CTO at Zaner Group. Zaner is a leading digital agency for headless commerce builds. We've worked with Zaner on several projects, most recently to create a headless web store for the e-commerce brand Barefoot Dreams. What do you wish all e-commerce merchants knew about headless commerce?
So I think there's actually, and I'm glad you asked this. I think there's a lot of re-education that needs to happen with merchants about what headless means, because headless means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Um, Fundamentally, just meaning we're not using the commerce stack itself as the basis for the UI is headless, but there's also that it gets instantly conflated with what is a PWA approach, and people assume if it's headless, it's a PWA. And so I've had to do a little bit of that re-education. So I'd love for people to understand that they're not inherently the same thing, but a PWA approach is a headless approach. But just saying headless doesn't give you all the advantages of a progressive web app. The other side is the what are the advantages and disadvantages, and making sure that people really understand the when you leave the Shopify ecosystem, or whatever the Magento ecosystem, what are you giving up from that? And it's generally the ease of integration to the rest of the world when you leave Shopify liquid theme development, right? The ability to just drop in from the App Store. Here's a new solution that's going to solve this problem for me. And I mean, one of the big reasons I was excited in working with Nacelle early on was that you guys are already thinking about those solutions and you're making those solutions available to us. So I'm not starting a new merchant off from scratch. I can say, well, it's not the full ecosystem of Shopify apps, but it's a curated ecosystem that's actually probably the one you want to be considering. But that's definitely, when people are weighing those options, that's a big part of it for me, is just understanding what are you giving up and what are you gaining.
Would you say that's the primary role you're playing right now from an agency point of view with the education of headless commerce, what it can do and what it really is?
Yeah, I mean, as an agency, right, we do 20 to 30 storefront builds a year. The average merchant is going to redesign their platform or redesign their site once every 3 years, maybe once every 5 years. So our breadth of experience gives us that insight into this is a good thing for you to do, this is a bad thing for you to do based on your model. This is why headless is going to make sense for you, or you shouldn't do headless right now because it's not going to give you the advantages you think it will. So maybe hold that for a little while and you can make that move later. But thinking through what the positives and the negatives are, whether it's cost, availability of developers, access to the ecosystem, and then the upsides of performance and the opportunity for better experience, better content management, and combination of the content and commerce side of things. Who does it make sense for, and what have we seen work? And that's what we really do best for our clients as an agency, being able to bring that breadth of experience to the table and say, this is why you should do this or not do this. That said, I've had people say, if I just sold my clients what they were asking for instead of giving them my insight, it would be a lot easier to do the sales process. But it's a lot harder to pay off the solution at the end if you're not selling them or not working with them on what they need.